Every spring, millions of gardeners get into their cars and drive to the garden center. They walk down the aisles filled with plastic bottles and bright packages, looking for a miracle. They're looking for something that will make their cuttings strike roots, something that will save their dying transplants, something that will turn a lifeless stick into a thriving bush. They pick up a small plastic jar of rooting hormone powder. It costs $10, maybe $15 for a few ounces of white dust. They buy chemical fertilizers that promise instant growth but leave the soil dead and salty in the long run. They have been trained to believe that the power to create life comes from a factory, that it has to be bought, that it has to be synthetic to be effective. But this is a lie. It is a very profitable lie for the chemical companies, but a lie nonetheless. Long before laboratories existed, long before anyone knew what a molecule was, our ancestors were propagating thousands of plants with a success rate that would make modern gardeners jealous. They didn't have credit cards. They didn't have plastic jars. They had knowledge. They knew that nature had already invented the perfect rooting hormone, and it wasn't hiding in a lab. It was hiding in plain sight, growing by the riverbank, swaying in the wind. Today, I'm going to show you how to walk out your back door, cut a few branches from a common tree that grows almost everywhere, and brew a living water that costs you absolutely nothing. This liquid is so powerful that old-timers used to say if you stuck a broom handle in it, the broom would sprout leaves. That is an exaggeration, of course, but the truth is not far off. This water contains the exact same biological triggers that expensive rooting powders use, plus something the powders don't have, an immune system booster for your plants. If you're tired of spending money on chemicals that you don't understand, and if you want to tap into a cultivation method that has sustained civilizations for centuries, listen closely. Today, we are making willow water. To understand why this water works, you have to look at the tree it comes from, the willow, Salix. Have you ever noticed how a willow tree behaves? If a storm breaks a branch off a willow tree and that branch falls into the mud of a riverbank, it doesn't rot, it doesn't die. Within days, it pushes out white, aggressive roots. It anchors itself, it drinks from the river and becomes a new tree. The willow is a survivor. It has an incredible, almost supernatural drive to live and regenerate. Ancient peoples observed this. They saw that willow wood was different from oak or pine. They saw that it could root in water alone, and they figured out that this life force could be extracted and given to other plants. Today, science has given names to this life force. We know now that the growing tips of young willow branches are packed with two critical substances. The first is indole-butyric acid, IBA. This is a plant hormone, an auxin. It is literally the chemical signal that screams, "Make roots now," to plant cells. When you buy that white rooting powder at the store, look at the label. It creates synthetic IBA, but the willow makes the real natural version, and it gives it to you for free. The second substance is even more amazing. It is salicylic acid. You might know it as the active ingredient in aspirin. In plants, salicylic acid acts as a defense shield. It helps the plant heal wounds. When you cut a stem to make a clone, you are wounding the plant. The salicylic acid in willow water seals that wound, prevents bacteria and fungus from entering, and reduces the shock. So when you use this living water, you are doing two things at once. You are commanding the plant to grow roots with high doses of hormones, and you are protecting it from infection with natural medicine. No store-bought powder offers that combination of protection and growth. This is why living water is superior to anything you can buy.
So, how do we get this magic out of the tree and into a jar? The first step is finding your source. Willows are everywhere. There are over 400 species of willows, and they all contain these compounds, though some have more than others. You are looking for weeping willows, pussy willows, or the wild shrubby willows that grow near creeks and ditches. You don't need a botany degree. If it looks like a willow and loves water, it will work. The best time to harvest is in early spring or late winter, just before the leaves fully open. This is when the tree is waking up. The sap is rising, pumping through the branches, loaded with those hormones to start the new season's growth. However, you can make this water anytime the tree is active, from spring through summer. You are not looking for old, thick, gray branches. The old wood is just structural. It doesn't have the magic. You want the new growth. Look for the stems that are green, yellow, or bright red. They should be flexible, about the thickness of a pencil or thinner. These are the shoots that are exploding with life. Take your pruning shears and harvest a handful of these young twigs. You don't need a whole tree. A bundle of twigs about the size of a spaghetti serving is enough to make a gallon of potent elixir. Remember to thank the tree. You are taking a part of its immune system to help your garden.
Once you have your bundle of willow twigs, bring them back to your workshop or kitchen. Now begins the process of extraction. First, strip off all the leaves. The leaves are not what we want. They can rot in the water and spoil the brew. We want the bark and the inner wood of the stems. Take your pruners and cut these long whips into small pieces, about 1 inch, 2 to 3 centimeters long. Why small pieces? Because we want to expose as much surface area as possible. The more cuts you make, the more open doors there are for the hormones to escape into the water. Some old gardeners even take a hammer and gently smash the pieces to bruise the bark and open up the fibers. This is a great trick to speed up the process. Now, place these chopped willow bits into a glass jar or a bucket. There are 2 ways to brew this tea, and the method you choose depends on how much patience you have. Method 1 is the cold soak. This is the traditional way. You simply cover the chopped twigs with cold water. Use rainwater if you can, or tap water that is sat out for 24 hours so the chlorine has evaporated. Cover the jar and let it sit. How long? At least 3 days, but up to a week. The water will slowly turn a weak amber color, like weak tea. This method preserves every delicate enzyme, but it takes time. Method 2 is the boiling extraction. This is for when you are in a rush. Pour boiling water over the twigs, just like making a pot of tea. Cover it immediately to keep the steam in and let it sit overnight until it cools completely. The heat extracts the hormones much faster, in about 24 hours. Some purists argue that heat might damage some of the enzymes, but in practice, both methods work exceptionally well. Once your brew is ready, strain out the twigs. Throw them on your compost pile. They have done their job. The liquid that remains is your living water. It is now charged with the biological power of the willow tree. Now you have a jar of golden liquid. How do you use it? The most common use is for propagation, making new plants from cuttings. Let's say you want to clone your favorite tomato plant, a beautiful rose bush or a berry cane. Take your cuttings as you normally would, but instead of dipping them in chemical powder, place the cut ends of the stems into a glass of your willow water. Let them soak. For soft plants like tomatoes or basil, a few hours is enough. For woody stems like roses or hydrangeas, let them soak for 12 to 24 hours. During this time, the stem is drinking up the hormones. It is absorbing the salicylic acid. It is being primed for root production. After the soak, you can plant the cuttings into soil or potting mix. You can also use the willow water to moisten the soil you're planting into. The difference is often dramatic. Cuttings treated with willow water tend to strike roots days earlier than untreated ones. The roots they produce are often thicker and more numerous, and because of the salicylic acid, you will see fewer cuttings rotting or turning black from fungal infections. It acts as a mild antiseptic, keeping the cut tissue healthy until the new roots can form. It is like giving your baby plants a vaccination and a growth spurt at the same time.
But there is another use for this water that almost nobody talks about. It is not just for cuttings. It is a miracle cure for transplant shock. We have all been there. You buy a beautiful pepper plant or a young tree. You dig a hole, you plant it, and the next day it looks sad. The leaves are drooping, the stem is limp, it is in shock. Its roots have been disturbed, and it doesn't know how to drink from its new home. This is where willow water shines. The same salicylic acid that helps cuttings heal also signals the plant's immune system to cope with stress. When you transplant a seedling, water it in immediately with a generous dose of willow water. Drench the root ball. The chemical signals in the water tell the plant, don't panic, heal the roots, protect against disease. You'll find that plants watered this way stand up faster. They recover their turgidity, their stiffness, much quicker than plants given plain water. This is an invaluable trick for gardeners who start their own seeds indoors. The transition from a cozy indoor pot to the cold, harsh garden soil is traumatic. A drink of willow water acts like a bridge, softening the blow and helping the plant establish itself in the real world. You can use it on everything: vegetables, flowers, even shrubs and trees. It is mild, it creates no chemical burn, and it is impossible to overdose your plants with it.
A common question is, how long does this stuff keep? Because it is a natural, biologically active liquid without artificial preservatives, it does not last forever. It is best used fresh. However, you can keep it in a sealed jar in the refrigerator for up to a month. If it starts to smell sour or rotten, throw it out and make a new batch. After all, the ingredients are free. Some gardeners even freeze it in ice cube trays, thawing out a few cubes whenever they need to root a small batch of cuttings in the middle of summer. This simple preservation technique means you can harvest willow twigs in the peak of spring when hormones are highest and use that power later in the year. But beyond the chemistry and the techniques, there's a deeper reason to use willow water. It changes your mindset. When you buy a bottle of blue fertilizer, you are a consumer. You are dependent on a supply chain, on a factory, on a truck delivering goods to a store. If the store closes, your garden suffers. But when you learn to make willow water, you become a producer. You become self-sufficient. You realize that the solutions to your garden's problems are already growing in your garden. You stop looking at a willow tree as just scenery and start seeing it as a resource, a partner. You start looking at other weeds and trees and wondering, what can you do? What secrets do you hold? This is the essence of the Garden Lore Vault. We are not just growing calories, we are growing wisdom. We are reclaiming the independence that our ancestors took for granted. So, here is your challenge for this week. Go find a willow tree. It might be in a park, by a creek, or maybe in your neighbor's yard. Ask for a few twigs. Brew a batch of this tea. And the next time you prune your tomatoes or accidentally break a piece off your favorite flower, don't throw it away. Soak it in the living water. Stick it in the soil. Watch life take hold where there was none before. You will save money, yes, but more importantly, you will feel the satisfaction of working with nature's own chemistry set, using a recipe written in the DNA of the trees themselves. Forget the store-bought chemicals. The real magic is free, it is wild, and it is waiting for you to brew it.